Hello, and welcome to Living Beyond Limits. I am Reverend Jennifer Spear, and we are a part of Centers for Spiritual Living. I am so glad that you have joined us today for this online service. And so what I invite you to do today as we begin this service, since we are each home watching this, is just to close your eyes for a moment and to think of some of the people that you love, some of the people that you care about. Maybe some of the people who need a little bit of extra love today. And to actually send them some of your love. To imagine them wrapped in that energy of your love and of your care. And to see them standing in their own authentic power and in their own wholeness. And to recognize that as you do that, you are actually sending them a blessing. Because you know what? God doesn't speak in words. It's all about energy and vibration. And because we're all connected to each other, we can actually send that blessing and bless each other. And to know that, too, the chances are that somebody that watches this video is sending you that same blessing. And so how wonderful it is just to get to participate in that. And so as we begin our service this morning, I'm going to invite our practitioner, Ray Bunch, to come forward. He's going to come and lead us in an evocation as we begin to evoke an awareness of the presence of Spirit that is always right where we are, and do a reading for us. And so I invite you just to kind of begin to settle into yourself. To let yourself just slow down and become really present in this moment. And to turn within to that part of yourself that is just beingness. Not the doingness, but just the beingness of yourself. And to allow yourself just to rest there for a moment.
Please join me in this invocation as we come together individually and as the body of Living Beyond Limits. We individually turn within our own beingness, accessing through our own consciousness that place of divine spiritual energy that is always with, always around us, and always operating through us. It's known by many names, my favorite being Living Spirit. So today, as I open myself more and more to my living spirit, to the center of my own beingness, to my own consciousness and my own understanding, I become more and more aware that there is just but one family. There is one race, the human race, and there is one life, all life, all different species, all different trees and bushes. And begin to feel very, very grateful as I recognize the love that has been in my life, my entire life, has been pointed towards me, that I have felt and sometimes not felt, but it was still there. So I just bless this service. I bless this time together. I bless Reverend Jennifer as she allows herself to open up through her own experience of life, her own wisdom, her own knowledge and intelligence, and allow Spirit to speak through her to us, to our spirit, to our individuality and our wholeness. And as we listen, we hear what's important for us to hear today, as always. So I bless this time, and I know it's wonderful. I bless every organization on planet Earth that has anything to do with the light, with bringing the light in, bringing the love in, and allowing one life to exist. And I say, thank you, God. And so it is. Well, I have a reading this morning that I'm going to talk about before I read it. And one of the things I want to ask you to do today about what I'm reading is, first off, if I make any mistakes, just allow them to be there. But past that is, I want you to think of this reading as you would think of a poem or a guided meditation or any way that you access your sense, feeling, and emotional body, however you do that. If you have a place on your body you touch, if you have a way that you hold your head, sometimes I can access it by just becoming aware of my left foot. So it doesn't matter, but I want you to be in that place when I read this to you. The title of this reading is Your First Teacher. The author is Reverend Christian Sorensen. It starts. Your first teacher was your mother. I say again, your first teacher was your mother, whose arms were created to bring you peace and comfort. Her heart was to give you love so that you may find your own. Her blood connected you to your ancestors so that you will never be alone in this world. You were not kept forever in the confines of your yard, but sent into this world to find your strength. You were not kept forever in the confines of your yard, but were sent into the world to find your strengths, which may have been the bravest thing that your mother ever did. She let go of you. She let you go to your self-discovery. She let you go to your self-discovery. Mothers are walking, breathing miracles. Your mother sacrificed so much so that you could enter the world. This day, May the 9th, Mother's Day, is to remind you to find the gratitude in your depth and to express it Mom's way. To find the gratitude and express it Mom's way. Allow positive mother energy to activate your heart so that your love connection, I'm going to do that again. Allow positive mother memories to activate your heart so that your love connection beyond time and space becomes the delivery system for that which is more beautiful than anything else. The maternal nurturing energy of the feminine is not bound by birth or gender. Let your love and appreciation go forth from you to all those amazing expressions of God's love, those spiritual mothers who helped birth your soul journey with their grace, your soul's journey with their grace, the ones who encouraged you when you were down, who were there for you when your heart and soul ached, and who reminded you that you are right now and eternally a child of God. Happy Mother's Day. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. And so I'd like to share with you now the mission statement of Living Beyond Limits. And if you know it, I invite you to say it with me, and if not, I invite you just to take it in. It says, "We are a sanctuary where people can discover and reveal the presence of God within their own being and experience their oneness with all life. Through the realization of this inner presence of love and peace, we give way to the evolutionary impulse of the divine and become a beneficial presence in the world." And so that's really what we're doing here at Living Beyond Limits, is we are giving ourselves the opportunity to awaken to our own divine nature, to awaken to the truth that that one presence, that one power, that one life is the animating force within us, that it is the thing that expresses itself as us, that it expresses itself as our life. And when we come to recognize that the allness that God is expressing itself right where we are, all around us and within us, that it changes the way we come to the world. When we recognize that that presence of the infinite one, the living spirit, Ray's favorite way to say it, is within us, that means then that love is within us and peace is within us. That we are made out of that wholeness of the divine presence. And that when we come to recognize that all of those aspects of the divine already exist within us, that they are innate to our beingness, that then we have access to them all of the time, regardless of what's happening in the world, regardless of what's happening in our experience. And therefore, as we tap into and bring forward, say, love or peace, kindness, compassion, generosity, we change what's happening in the world around us because we are coming to the world differently. We change our own life experience and we change our interactions and our relationships. And as we do that, we are bringing the light of God into this world in a way that benefits everyone. And so I say thank you to each and every single one of you for answering the call of your own soul to be walking this path of remembering, to be walking this path of stepping into that divine presence and bringing it forward in this world in a beneficial way. So thank you for that. And so, yes, as Ray said today, Happy Mother's Day. And in honor of Mother's Day today, we celebrate and honor all mothers everywhere and all of those people in this world who played the role of mother for someone. And on this Mother's Day, we also honor our own mothers and those people in the world who played that role of mother for us. And we celebrate them today. For mothers have touched and changed the lives of every single person that they have loved and cared for and nurtured and taken care of. And so we honor our mothers and we honor all mothers. And I also want to acknowledge on this Mother's Day that some of us did not have the ideal mother. Some of us did, but some of us did not. And some of us had ideal mothers only part of the time. And so I want to acknowledge that that is real and that might be up for us today as we're watching this. But what I do know is that every single one of us had someone who loved us with the heart of a mother. Whether it be an aunt or a teacher or a grandparent or a friend or a neighbor. All of us had someone that cared for us and nurtured us and believed in us with a mother's heart. And so today, on Mother's Day, what I would also like to do is to recognize and honor our Mother Earth. And to recognize and give thanks for her, to her, for sustaining us and for nurturing us. For Mother Nature and Mother Earth constantly give us oxygen and fruits and vegetables and grains and legumes and beauty. And all of those things nurture us and feed us. She nourishes and provides for us and for every single one of the inhabitants upon this earth. And so on Mother's Day today, we acknowledge and honor the Mother Earth also. And so Mother Earth or Mother Nature has been honored throughout eons of time by religions that are based in nature. And even in the religion of Hinduism, the Divine Mother is called Adi Parashakti. She is the universal creative force in the universe. And she expresses as Mother Earth and as Mother Nature. And Mother Nature in that Hindu tradition gives birth to all of the plants and the animals and then reabsorbs everything into herself in order to create life anew. And so what a perfect day Mother's Day is to be in gratitude for all that the earth supplies us with. And to look also towards Mother Earth or Mother Nature as an example of the spiritual truth and the spiritual principle of abundance and of opulence. And to recognize that that is really the nature of life. And so as we look at Mother Earth and Mother Nature, we see opulence and abundance everywhere we look. We see it in the variety of flowers and of plants and of trees. We see it in the variety of animals and reptiles and birds and even insects. In fact, do you know that there are 60,000 species of trees in this world? And every species has subspecies and varieties of it that express. And so just one species of tree, which is the conifer, actually has the varieties of cedar trees and cypress trees, pine trees and yews, juniper trees and spruces and firs and redwood trees. That's just of one type of tree. There are over 400,000 species of flowers, and all of the varieties and the colors of those species. There are 32,000 species of fish, 10,000 species of birds, 900,000 species of insects, 45,000 species of spiders, and 17,500 species of butterflies. How's that for abundance and opulence and creativity? There is no end to that opulence and creativity when we look to nature. That abundance is expressing itself everywhere as Mother Nature and as life itself. Ernest Holmes said, "Nothing is lacking in God's world. Abundance is the natural state of life." And yet, for every single one of us, there are times in our lives where we do not experience ourselves in that flow of abundance. In fact, there are times in our lives when we find ourselves in want and in lack. We find ourselves stuck in something that feels confining, like a job that no longer suits us and no longer fits. Or like when we are experiencing a dis-ease or disharmony somewhere in our lives. Or maybe even during COVID, where you feel like you are stuck in a dull routine, where you're doing the same thing over and over every day and it doesn't feel like there's any creativity in your life. Maybe you are feeling stuck in want of friendship, or stuck in your thinking, in small thinking or lack thinking, having the thought that somehow there isn't enough, or maybe even that you aren't enough. When I know really what every single one of us wants is we want to experience ourselves in that flow of abundance. We want to experience ourselves and our lives filled with that opulence and with that creativity and that creative expression. We want to have an abundance of friends and an abundance of love. We want to have an abundance of opportunities for creative expression and for fun and for joy. We want to experience an abundance of good health and of harmony in our relationships and of harmony in our workplaces. And the truth is, all the good that you could ever want is already available. It's already available and held in potential right now. It's held in that realm of the absolute as not just a possibility, but as a complete idea, as a fact in that realm of the invisible. It is held in that because the very nature of life is creativity. And the very nature of life is abundance and boundless good. It's already held in that invisible realm. And our thinking makes it available to us or makes it not available to us. And so I'd like to share a story with you out of A Daily Dose of Sanity by Alan Cohen. And it says, Jerry Hicks tells of one summer when he and a buddy set out on a fishing expedition. The two rented a boat at a lake, found a quiet spot, and cast their rods. From the moment the men began fishing, fish were practically jumping into the boat until at the end of the day, the tiny craft chugged back to the dock, so laden with fish that it nearly sank. As the anglers approached the dock, the rental agent was stunned. "Where did you catch all those fish?" he asked excitedly. "Right over there," Jerry answered, pointing to the locale of their windfall. "That's unbelievable," the agent said, shaking his head. "Everybody's talking about nobody catching fish in this lake all summer long. I didn't want to tell you when you rented the boat because I needed the money, and I'm glad I didn't." Abundance is the natural condition of life, and it yields its treasures to those whose minds are open to receive it. Yet a belief in lack is enough to create a condition of lack. When many people agree on lack, it seems real. Meanwhile, as you can see from Jerry's experience, those who do not know they cannot do what they cannot do usually end up getting what they want. So if you are, quote, fishing for a house, business success, friendship, or a soulmate, pay no attention to the dire reports of those who say what you want is not out there or cannot be done. Prophets of woe have fallen under the hypnosis of deficiency. Instead, remember that there is a lot of what you want out there. And if you just drop your line, representing your mind, into the right place in the lake, the pool of all potential, your boat will be laden with treasures, and you will leave the naysayers with their jaws hanging. Wayne Dyer tells us abundance is not something we acquire. It is something we tune into. Good is not something we acquire. It's something we tune into. It's already present, and it's already available. So the good news is we choose through our thinking and through our beliefs. And the bad news is we choose through our thinking and through our beliefs. And so the title of my talk today is, Are You Related? And my question is, are you related to Mother Earth and her opulent abundance? Are you related to the creativity of life itself? Are you not a part of, a reflection of, an expression of that creativity of life? And is not your life the expression of that same creativity, that same abundance, that same opulence? You think that a creative intelligence that could create hundreds of thousands of any type of animal or flower or plant could not create and express as the thing that you're desiring in your life? It's an infinite creativity. And so today I'm talking about that the potential of the thing that you desire is already held in the absolute. It's already a complete idea in the realm of the divine, in consciousness. Consciousness with a capital C, the consciousness that we all live in, that invisible realm. It's already available and present in potential. And because we draw to us and allow into our lives according to our consciousness, our job then is to create the atmosphere for that particular thing to take form, to set down roots, to become real in our lives, so that we are to create the environment for that thing to unfold or to express. And so the first thing that we do is we get clear about what we want, and we set the intention to have that thing. And then we recognize that intention that we set actually is the seed that we're planting. And so what we do then is we recognize that that seed, just like any seed in nature, already contains everything within that seed that it needs to reach its full potential. It already contains a blueprint within a seed to express as all that it needs to be. It contained within that acorn is the oak tree. It's already there, everything that it needs. That means then when we plant a tomato seed, it actually grows into a tomato plant. It doesn't grow into a cucumber plant or into an almond tree. The seed contains everything that it needs to be that thing. That means then our intention and our desire already contains within it everything that it needs to unfold and come to fruition. Getting clear and opening to it, intending for that thing to happen, is us planting the seed for that particular thing that we want. Whether it be a new relationship or more harmony in a relationship that you have right now, whether it be having a new home or a healthy body, the completed thing and all of the pieces that it needs to unfold are already held in that seed, in your intention. You don't have to create it. You don't have to force it. You don't have to manipulate it. You don't have to figure it out. But what you have to do is to create the soil, the environment where that seed can take root and grow and flourish. And that fertile soil that we create includes trust and faith and openness and high expectancy. And then we feed the soil so that it is the perfect nurturing environment with our affirmations and our visualizations and our affirmative prayers. That creates that rich soil for that seed of the intention to take root and to grow. Because affirmations, what happens is the affirmations that we use stop the weeds from choking out the seed as it begins to unfold itself. And the weeds that get planted in that soil are our worries and our doubts. They are thinking thoughts like there isn't enough, or like somehow that we aren't enough. Those weeds are thoughts like we can't have this thing, or it probably won't happen, or it's too much work and too much effort, or I'm too, whatever, old, short, living in the wrong country, I don't know, whatever the ideas are that come up to you. And one of the other weeds is continuing to do the same behavior that we have done over and over again and expecting something different to show up. And so our job then is to actually pay attention to the weed seeds that are getting planted and to pull out those weeds. And so the purpose of the spiritual tools that we have are not to plant the seeds. The purpose of the spiritual tools we have are to be able to pull the weeds. When we pull those weeds, we increase our expectancy. We increase our trust. If you didn't have weeds, the thing that you want would probably already be in your life. We all have weeds. The weeds choke out the things that we desire. So our job is to pay attention and pull the weeds. And so we begin then by setting an intention, right? You get clear about what you want and you set your intention. And then you create an affirmation around what it is that you want. And then you notice what weeds start sprouting. You notice what kinds of things you start telling yourself that are keeping that from happening. You notice the yeah, buts. I want this thing, yeah, but. You notice the weeds of why you can't have it and why it won't work. And then you create an affirmation to counteract that. You do spiritual mind treatment, affirmative prayer to counteract that thing. So let's say that you are desiring to have a relationship, a new relationship. And you notice this weed is planted that says, I really don't deserve that much good in my life. Or I don't deserve someone treating me that well. I don't deserve to have this thing, whatever the thing is that you want in your life. And so you turn that around with an affirmation of telling yourself something like, I am deserving of all the good in the universe. And that this universe supports me in feeling and in being fulfilled. Because in doing so, the universe is fulfilling itself. If you find yourself planting a weed seed that says there just isn't enough, you create an affirmation and you do affirmative prayer reminding yourself that you live in this universe of opulence. You live in an unending creativity, that you live in a universe of plenty, and that opulence and abundance is the nature of life. If you find yourself planting a weed seed that says, it's just too hard, you create an affirmation that says, it comes to me easily and effortlessly. So your job is to pull the weed, and you pull the weed by replacing it with something that nourishes that soil so that you're creating the perfect soil. And if you need help creating an affirmation, or if you need help doing affirmative prayer, talk to one of our practitioners. Or talk to me. We are happy to help you work through those little places where you get stuck. And use an affirmation that feels doable. Use an affirmation that feels good to you. Because what happens when we create an affirmation is it creates an emotional shift within us. And that's the purpose of it. Not just does it change our thinking, but it changes our emotions that we're having. So create an affirmation that moves you from a place of doubt to a thing that feels like relief or that feels like excitement. To use an affirmation that shifts you from feeling stress to feeling relaxation and expectancy. Create an affirmation that shifts you from feeling like you are struggling to where you feel like you're able to let go and you're able to be in a place of ease. Affirmations create a shift in your thinking and in your emotions. And so today, on Mother's Day, we recognize that the very nature of life is creativity and opulence, and that it is everywhere that we look and everywhere that we don't look, in all that we see and in all that we don't see. We recognize that the very nature of life, with a capital L, of that creative force, the very nature of that creative force is to express. Reverend Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith says, our journey into a consciousness of wealth begins with the realization that we have already arrived. We have already arrived in the kingdom of good, in the kingdom of all possibility, in the kingdom of God. And so my invitation to you this week is to use your focus and your spiritual practice and the spiritual tools that you have, meditation and affirmations and affirmative prayer and visualizations, to remind yourself that you have already arrived. To remind yourself that you already live in the kingdom of unending good. And from that knowing, know that the thing that you desire to have is already present there. It's already present in that realm. Get clear about what you want, and then ask yourself, in order for this to unfold, what do I need to release? What do I need to let go of? What belief do I need to turn around? What belief do I need to replace with something else? What do I need to let go of in order to create the perfect soil for that seed to grow? And then expect the best. In that expectancy, we rest and we trust the universe to unfold it. Just like when you plant a seed in the ground, it takes time for that thing to germinate. You know, and some seeds grow within 21 days, and some seeds take months to actually flourish and grow. So we wait in expectancy, trusting and continuing to pull the weeds. And as a result of that, you'll be living a life that is filled with those things that your heart desires. And so blessings to you on this path of self-discovery, this path of unfolding your own divine potential, discovering the goodness of life, and living this life of God. Blessings to each and every single one of you. And so I invite you to join me in an affirmative prayer. And so, yes, we just lean into that divine presence, that presence of opulence and of abundance and of creativity, recognizing that this is the very nature of life, and it is the very nature of our own individual lives that we are living. That we live in this presence of creativity and of divine potential where all possibility exists. And not only do we live in it, but it lives within us because it is one and the same. This presence of the infinite one is all around us. It is within us. That we live in the kingdom right now, and that it is literally God's good pleasure to give us the kingdom, to express it within us and through us and within our lives and through our lives. For this is the nature of the divine, to be all that it is in every single moment, in every single place. And so today we tap into it, and we tap into our heartfelt desires, and we open ourselves to that outflow of the divine and the inflow into our own lives. We open ourselves with trust and with faith and with high expectations, and we allow anything and everything that has been blocking our good right now to dissolve into the nothingness from whence it came. For all of those false beliefs and beliefs in lack and in not enough and in can't simply have nothing to support them. For the law is one of unfolding. For the law is one of infinite possibilities. And so we just simply remind ourselves of that. And we experience ourselves as being in that kingdom. And it is with a grateful heart that I release this prayer, knowing that it is done as it is spoken, for I have spoken this word of truth. And so we just rest in confidence as it unfolds in our lives. And for this I give thanks. And I simply say, and so it is. And so I have just a couple of invitations for you. One is next week we will be at Hartwell Park at 10 o'clock. So I invite you to join us next Sunday. If you don't know exactly where we're meeting because you're new to us, it will be on our Facebook page at Living Beyond Limits Center for Spiritual Living. If you would like to get on our email list, will you please email us at livingbeyondlimitscsl@gmail.com, and we will get you on our email list so that you have access to all of the things that we're doing. I'd also like to remind you, if you have been participating in connection and spiritual practice on Thursday evenings, we are not meeting this week or next week because I'm doing a workshop right now, and so I'm doing that at the same time. But we'll be back in 3 weeks to do that. Also, we are continuing to do ministry of prayer. So if you have a prayer request and would like us to support you in prayer, we are happy to do that. If you will email us at Living Beyond Limits or contact Barbara Conant, she will make sure that email, that prayer request gets out to the practitioners and to myself, and we will support you in the next week. We also have prayer shawls. If you would like to be wrapped in that energy of prayer, the practitioners are happy to pray over a prayer shawl for whatever your specific desire is and gift that to you, or you can gift that to someone else. And so until next week, when we are together again, know that you are loved and that we are holding you in high consciousness and holding you in our hearts, and that we look forward to seeing you next week.